guys.
How you doing?
Hi.
So let's talk about marriage.
Right.
You've been married forever,
Yep.
and you've never been married.
Never been married.
So what is your take on marriage after all these years, and will you take the plunge?
You know, it's funny. The idea for the script came from I was at a 10th wedding anniversary, and someone made a toast that said, you know, if this thing ended today, I think you could call it a success. And we all laughed and talked about, you know, how true that is, but also kind of how tragic it is. So I have no real opinions on what makes, or I shouldn't say that, I don't have any concrete opinions on what makes a marriage work or why they don't work. The script was sort of an attempt to try and explore it. I don't know, do you have anything figured out?
You know what I think is amazing about this movie is that it sort of starts in the place that most movies end, which is kind of the like wedding and the happily ever after. And this movie kind of says, well, what about the happily ever after? And I think we have this great mythology about things just being perfect and easy. And once you find the right person, then it's just smooth sailing from there on out. And I think it's obviously more complicated than that. So.
Absolutely, yeah. And I love you shot this in your hometown where you're Tribeca.
Yep.
And were all these restaurants open? People are looking into the camera. I love all that.
Well, you know, I made a film 10 years ago, Sidewalks of New York, that was a pseudo-doc. And for 10 years, I've been trying to find sort of the companion piece to that story. And given that that was about single folks primarily in New York, when I fell upon this idea, I knew, okay, we want to go with a pseudo-doc style. But this time we kind of took it a step further. And like a real documentary crew, when we were going to shoot in a restaurant, we didn't close the restaurant down. We went in and, you know, got a table in the corner, and the actors were asked to sort of act in a live environment. And a lot of times, you know, when you're on a set, it's quiet on the set, and you got to give the actors time to concentrate. This was very different. You know, there was none of that. So you had to act within these live environments. So if you're on the street and someone walks by or into the shot or says something, you couldn't break character. You had to play with it, and that was also true in the restaurant. So it was very different, cool, fun way to work.
Could you give me an example of when somebody might have just, you know, been a little over anxious to sort of interrupt what was going on?
Trying to think. We had one scene at the restaurant where Max tells Marcia that he wants a divorce, where the four of us are at dinner. And it wasn't they were over anxious. We had just had a table next to us, and this guy had this like very loud baritone voice that, you know, we kept asking him, you know, we didn't want to tell anyone to not speak, but just maybe take it down a little bit. And he wasn't having it. He was having his dinner, so we had to work around him.
Have you ever managed or waitressed or done any of that stuff before?
Yeah. Yeah.
What actor hasn't?
I mean, yeah.
So did this sort of bring back good memories for you doing the restaurant work, or?
Well, I was never in an ownership position at a restaurant, so it felt kind of nice to be doing that. But yeah, I mean, when we shot in my restaurant, the kind of staff there didn't entirely know what was going on. So suddenly I was behind the bar, kind of like pretending to do stuff, and they were like, okay, you know, a little confused.
I forgot about that
Yeah.
scene. Yeah, that scene, they were open for business
I'm just
as well.
gonna be back here doing something with the menus. I hope it's all right, you guys. So.
Where did you find that apartment? Where does that apartment
That
exist?
a friend of ours gave us that and sort of said, if you shoot here, just promise me no one. So I can't say, but it's a pretty great apartment. And, you know, I mean, the way we're able to make these movies is by calling in massive favors. So you get the apartment, we got, you know, 6 different restaurants, and people, you know, I mean, have been pretty great to the film. And hopefully when the film comes out and people see it, some people will stop into the restaurant and say, hey, I saw this in Newlyweds, so, you know, that's why we're here.
There'll be a big sign, Newlyweds was shot here.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to be working together again, right? You're doing another project.
Got another one, the Fitzgerald's Family Christmas, which is kind of a return to the McMullen landscape, and appropriately named.
My father's very pleased.
Can you give me, in a nutshell, what that one?
Yeah, it's 7 adult siblings from Long Island, and their parents got divorced when they were kids. and the father now wants to return to the family's home for Christmas dinner. And half of the siblings still love him and absolutely want him. Half of them hate him and want nothing to do with him. And the mother hates the father most of all and refuses to have him come over for Christmas. And the family has to figure out a way to convince the other siblings and their mom to let dad spend Christmas with them.
That sounds like something you might have experienced as a child, no?
No, but I mean, definitely, I know enough funny Christmas stories that deal with families that I was able to pull a lot of funny incidents out of it.
What are you, now we're on the Christmas topic, do you have a nightmare Christmas or a Christmas that you might have been disappointed?
One Christmas, my family decided to take a trip to Panama for the holiday. We didn't do our research fully, and it was the rainy season. So I was stuck with 10 members of my family, whom I love, however, in a very tiny bed and breakfast in the mountains of Panama, while it rained torrentially, so hard that we could hear the boulders rolling down the mountain for the entirety of our vacation.
Kind of like the pounding of these pipes.
A little bit, yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.